Come on in, everyone. Come on in so we can talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. Y'all, we are on episode 8. Get in here quickly because we got a lot to talk about, y'all. Now, let me get this straight. You mean to tell me that K. Michelle was on Real Housewives of Atlanta whatever season we on, episode 8. And last week she was complaining that Drew was making it seem like she was running around telling K. Michelle that K. Michelle knew Black as if she had slept with Black, which Drew never said. But she was so riled up about her whole reputation being spoiled. I don't know. Maybe she didn't want to be called promiscuous. I don't know what. I don't know. But now developments. We see K. Michelle running around on Club Shay Shay talking to Shannon Sharp, telling all of us that she's in is it called an open marriage? What is it called when you said you're okay with your husband sleeping with other people and sometimes you watch? What is that called? Because why the heck would K. Michelle care about Drew saying she knew Black when K. Michelle was living this life? So it just goes back to say what I thought was K. Michelle got married to this man that she's married to right before she started filming, because what I know about K. Michelle is she's insecure. And she didn't want to come on this show, Real Housewives, and not be married. So she went ahead and basically told this man, you need to marry me, because she said she was going to get married no matter what. She was either going to marry this man or another man. Because why now, K. Michelle? You said you've been talking to this man for 10, 11 years. Why now? And I think the why now is she did not feel secure enough coming on this show as a single woman. Even though there are other single women on here, she was not secure enough to do that. So she got this man and said, let's get married. But she said, listen, this is what I'll do for you. Since I know we're getting married and you really don't want to get married because you don't really want to be monogamous or anything, I'll let you go ahead and still have rendezvous, sexual relationships with other women. And I might even come watch sometimes. But let me tell you where I draw the line. I draw the line, husband, with you paying another woman's bills. Well, K. Michelle, you can't control that. What woman is going to have sex with this man for free? I just need to know that. What woman do you think is going to be having sex with your husband, a married man, for free? He's going to be paying some bills for somebody. He certainly is. So, K. Michelle, you got bigger fish to fry than running around here mad at Drew over some person called Black. Shamea is running around. Now she wants to be a movie actor. Shamea is just not happy with her life. And I really don't understand why. She's not happy with her body. She's not happy with her marriage. She's not happy with her career. She's really not happy or satisfied with the life she has. And honestly, a lot of people would say Shamea is living a good life. But yet, as good as it is, she has to get surgery. She's constantly trying to be, working out here in the entertainment world for more attention. I don't think that there is a limit to how much attention Shamea needs. She seemed like she wanted to do everything except be at home and take care of that daughter she has, which obviously she has some health challenges. Maybe that's where she just needs to dedicate herself to, because this running around, trying to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta, trying to be an actress, doing promiscuous scenes or whatever she wants, intimate scenes, so her husband has to tell her he doesn't like it. What for, Shamea? Really, Shamea? What for? This is crazy. Later on, we find out she's full of grief over not being have the boy that her husband wants. We're going to talk about that later on. But we did get to see a little bit of Pinky's daughter. Cute little girl. Now, she was doing a version of the alphabet none of us knew. None of us knew it. Maybe she was speaking in a foreign language. Maybe Pinky's daughter is a bilingual and there was an alphabet that we never heard of yet. But Everybody's getting to see a little bit more of their children in the show. Kelly's still upset that her husband, who is rude and I guess giving her a hard time, won't allow the younger children to film. But the daughter that did film, she was 18 years old, so she didn't need her daddy's consent. She was like, I'm filming with my mama. I'm going to give me a check. And Kelly's like, listen, these kids need a check, husband. So I don't even know why you are stopping them from filming. Probably because you want to stop my check coming in because you ain't even paying child support over here. So I'm having to really do everything on my own. And Kelly's so broke with money, she got both her mama and her grandmama working in her Nana's waffles, probably for free. I know they're not getting paid. I know they're not. It's all out of love. It's all out of love. I know they aren't getting paid at all. Kelly said one of her locations is doing well, but the other one's not so much. We'll close it. Why you need more than one anyway? People expand too quickly. They really expand too quickly. That's why I'm saying I think Kelly got these PPP loans, and so she wouldn't get in trouble. I think she had to open up 2 locations. I think she and her husband illegally got PPP loans, and they didn't want to go to jail over it. So they quickly opened up these restaurants in COVID in order to prove that they were using the money for this. But the truth of the matter is these locations should have needed 2 locations. She should have had 2 locations, period, point blank. Kelly's over here complaining that her husband owes $50,000 in back child support, and he ain't paying. So when she's over here kicking up all this kerfuffle with everyone else, Kelly's mad. You know, when people are mad about other things in their life, sometimes they take it out on you. Kelly's been talking about that she's been dating this guy, this Jarvis fella, AKA Tony Starks. I guess this is his nickname. She doesn't really want to reveal who he really is. She's been dating him for over a year. And she met them at a Hawks game. So basically she's telling Portia, I'm not sleeping with no married pastor because I got a man. I done had a man for over a year. And his name is AKA Tony Starks. We met at a Hawks game, and this is my real man. So I'm not running around on planes, ships, planes, airplanes, anything, sleeping with no pastors. I hear people are running around being private investigators, trying to figure out who is this married man that Kelly supposedly slept with. At the end of this episode, we actually hear Phaedra co-sign with Portia because Portia says, you know who he is, Phaedra, because he's one of your clients. And Phaedra says, oh, I know. Did y'all catch that? But all I want to know is, when K. Michelle came back and she got back with her husband and they're going to the dental office, not his dental office, because he doesn't want to do no oral surgery on K. Michelle. He barely they don't even live in the same house. They don't even live in the same town. I think he living in Memphis. Where is he living? In Memphis, Tennessee, and K. Michelle is down in Atlanta. I don't know what's going on. Don't she live in Nashville? I don't know anything about this arrangement that K. Michelle goes, but I know it's unorthodox. I sure know it's unorthodox. But she came back and she lied to her husband, told her husband, yeah, when we went on this retreat to Dallas, I was very calm, cool, and collected. Lies on top of lies. Girl, you were so unhinged, so unhinged. In fact, when they were in this dental office and there was a cute little dental assistant, K. Michelle said, oh, you couldn't be my husband's dental assistant because you're too cute. Girl, you in an open relationship. What are you worried about who his dental assistant is? Because you already gave this man a free license to sleep with any woman he wanted to, as long as he don't pay none of her bills. I think K. Michelle just has this arrangement with this man because she doesn't want anyone from the public releasing any sort of got you bloggers, vloggers, whatever you want to call them, saying, hey, K. Michelle husband is cheating. She doesn't want anyone to come up with any gotcha moments and say that man is cheating, because then what she'll be able to say is, so what? Who cares? This is the agreement on relationship. So don't be coming over here trying to out me over what this man is doing. I don't know, K. Michelle. This marriage is given arranged marriage just so you can have a husband on this show. That's kind of K Michelle what I'm getting from all this. But Portia says, not Portia, Phaedra said, I'm going to host a party, a Reiki party. Is that how you pronounce it? Reiki, where I'm going to be beating on the drums and beating the little sound machine, the sound bath. Because all you ladies need to clear your spirit. And K Michelle said, she was at this pottery class and everything. And she's still on this tip that between Phaedra and Portia and Drew, they talk about a scheme that Todd set up. This is a scheme that Portia set up. And K Michelle, you are setting up a scheme to embarrass me. And I'm not here for it. So I'm going to confront all you ladies on it. And you're not going to try to pull no wool over my eyes. And it's just a whole lot of mess going on. A whole lot of mess. We got to see a lot of Portia. Portia's still talking about dating several men at one time. And I want to say several because she was dating this man named Mike Bless. He's still running around trying to send mariachi bands to play for her, trying to impress her. Then we got the new lady that's going to show up named Sway. She's back in the picture talking about she has deeper conversations with Sway. So that's why she likes Sway, because she likes Mike Bliss for the looks, the body, the muscles. Sway got muscles. Sway got muscles too, Portia. Then she likes Sway because Sway is intelligent and they have really a lot more deeper conversations. And then who knew that Dennis was still sniffing up the dress of Portia after all these years, keeping a tight rein on what she's doing. I'm going to tell you this. You got to give Portia her flowers because Portia has the sex appeal to attract a lot of different people and types of people. Portia has a way of making everyone sit in front of her believe that they're the perfect match, that they're so wonderful, and that she can be everything to them that they want, and they can be everything to her that she wants. Portia is very, very good at flirting and selling herself to the point that anyone who dates her wants to just gobble her up. I know a lot of people will walk around talking about they think the couple dome between Portia and Sway is just so cute. The energy is magnetic. It's so strong. Well, that's the same thing y'all was saying when she was with what's his name? Simon Guobadia. Everyone was talking about how Portia's living her best life, leaning into her African princess. She looks so happy, right? Anyone Portia's with in the beginning, she looks happy. She knows how to sell it. And she knows how to convince all of these people. She got Sway over here because you see with Mike Bless, he wants a baby. And so she said, listen, I'm not carrying no more babies because my body is a moneymaker and I'm not trying to mess it up no more, having no more kids. So I'm not trying to carry no baby. And for Mike, that's a deal killer. So she said, Mike, if that's a deal killer, then this relationship ain't going nowhere. But we can still hump in these sheets if you want to. We sure can. And Sway said, that's okay. I'll carry the baby, Portia. What? You'll carry the baby? Sway said, yeah, I'll carry the baby. So now Portia's over here talking to her sister, saying, we got 3 women. We got my eggs from Portia, her sister's eggs, and Sway's eggs. Whose eggs shall we use for this baby that Sway said that she's going to want? And Portia has made this woman, Sway, believe that this is forever and ever and ever. I think with Portia, everything is good till it isn't good. She's a good salesperson. No wonder her Go Naked hair has made, is what she said, $10 million in 10 years. That's $1 million a year. She's selling a Go Naked hair. She can sell the dream. I have to give it to her. And I got to tell you, if any lady is out here having problems attracting a man or a woman, whatever it is you want to attract, you need to take some tips from Portia because she's really, really good at it. Really, really good. But she was putting on a nice little afternoon sort of let's do something fun for her daughter. And she brought some snakes into the house. This is not fun, Portia. Snakes, aren't snakes bad luck? I don't know. That was just weird to me. And I thought she said she was just going to bring some lizards over, but she didn't bring no lizards. She brought some big old snakes. The next thing you know, we over here with Shamia crying. We're like, what's wrong, Shamia? You married to the $5 million man. You live in a house that what was worth $8 million? I don't know. You got two beautiful daughters. It's still not enough. So what she's crying over the fact that she's had 5 failed transfers and she's down to one last male embryo because her husband needs a male to carry on the family name. He needs a male. And what she's crying over is because, well, what if this last male embryo doesn't take? What am I going to do next? Well, you got some options. The option is they told her your sister can carry the baby. She said, that's weird. That's too weird for her to use my sister's eggs in order to fertilize an egg with my husband and my sister. She said, that's too much. Well, what's the next alternative? Your African husband goes back to Africa and finds an African woman in order to give him a male. Because that's plausible, Shamia. That's actually possible. And if Shamia's not careful with all this stuff that she's doing, it might not just be possible, it might be probable. Y'all know the difference between possible, plausible, and probable. If Shamia ain't careful, it's going to become real probable real soon. He already told her, I don't like you doing all this acting, especially when you're doing all these scenes, these intimate kissing. I don't know if they naked scenes, but she says passionate love making. Why are you doing this, Shamia? Is she afraid that her husband's going to leave her because she hasn't given him a male? And what she's saying is, I better get myself in order because if I don't give this man a boy, I might be left single. He's going to leave. I don't know. I sure hope that's not it. And you know who was giving her some bad marital advice? The woman who can't even get her husband to pay child support, Kellie. Kellie was over here telling Shamia, to hell with Gerald. You got to have your life and your career too. What the heck, Kellie? You are broke, filing bankruptcy, ain't got no man to even pay your light bill. And you over here telling Shamia, ignore your husband. You have your own life and your career. This is why women got to be careful who they get advice from. Shamia, you should not be taking advice from Kellie. She's broke. She's filing bankruptcy. She can't even get her man to pay any child support, whatever. Whatever. You shouldn't be taking no advice from her. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Kellie over here having her daughter, who's 18, who does get to film, having her sign a code of conduct because she's about to go off to college. So I guess he really ain't got pay no child support for her because she's over 18. This is crazy. That man really don't like Kellie. What I want to know is, I think I read that Kellie said her husband cheated on her and that her husband also stole money. That's what I think. I think they both got PPP loan money and he took half of it. That's what I think. And she's upset about it. And I think what happened was that PPP money was supposed to be designated to open 2 restaurants for these Nana's Chicken and Waffles. Hear me out. When they got the PPP money, the husband instead took half of it and pissed it off or did whatever the hell he wanted to do with it. Now Kellie has the other half of the PPP money, but the government says you were supposed to open 2 restaurants. So now she got to take really only half of the money and open up 2 restaurants with that money. You know how hard that is? Do you know how hard that is? That's why she broke, and that's why she's mad at that husband. But that husband was trying to get back at her or something. I need to know what that husband was trying to get back at her. I'm not saying what he did was good because he sounds like he's an asshole to the 10th degree. But I don't think he just woke up one day or Kellie just woke up one day and we got here. It's got to be more of the story. I just wish I knew the whole story. But it's unfortunate that we are here and that man is not paying no child support and he owes over $50,000. That's ridiculous. But next thing you know, we was at dinner with Porsche and Sway and the mood was good. The romance was good. They was drinking shots. Everything was looking good. Portia was looking scrumptious and sexy as she always does. And next thing I know, Sway told Portia, you know, she shot her shot with Portia almost 8 or 10 years ago. So 8 or 10 years ago, Sway was already hunting for some Portia, but Portia said she wasn't all the way ready to date a woman. She was still dating the man. And she said, by the way, Sway, I'm still dating men. So just to let you know, I'm an equal opportunity employer right now. And I'm not settling on anyone else, at least at this moment. I think now they're in a committed relationship, but at this moment, she goes, I ain't settled on you yet. But one thing I do know, Sway, is that you have the ability to take care of me. And now that I know you'll be willing to carry a child, and I don't have to carry the child, this is feeling even better. So now what we have to believe is that Portia would not only be in a long-term lesbian relationship, but she would also be willing to be the mother of record for a child with a lesbian. Do we believe it? Do we believe it? I don't. I think it's a big difference having a little fun in the bedroom with Sway versus saying, I'd be willing to be the mother of a child that we both birthed together. I don't believe it. But like I said, Portia has a way of making everyone feel special. Her flirt techniques are a 10 out of 10. I mean, when Sway said to her, you know, I'm really looking to lock down a woman pretty soon. And do you really feel that you could be ready to be locked down in a relationship? And Portia said, oh, is that a proposal? You see that type of flirting? Is that a proposal? See, that sends the message that I'm open to your proposal. That's a welcoming message to Portia. And Portia knows damn sure she's not ready to get married to no Sway. Now, she might like Sway's money because Sway's talking about she make a lot of money with these salon suites. But Portia said, I'm ready to love out loud, which we now do see her loving out loud. And then Sway asked her, would you have any baby drama, baby mama, baby daddy drama? And Portia said, no, not really. I don't. Girl, you're lying. You are lying. Your man, that man, ex-man of yours, Dennis, was just running up in your driveway because the other man, Mike Bless, had sent a mariachi band. He was all up in arms. Dennis will have a fit. So Portia, yes, you got baby daddy drama. The only reason why Dennis was all for that relationship with Simon was because Dennis was securing the bag for his daughter. Let's be real. All them pictures we saw Dennis take with Portia next to Simon, he was in on it because he said, that's fine, because all this money you getting, Portia, $30,000 a month, is also securing the future of my daughter. So I'm all for it. So basically, Dennis said, I'm willing to pimp you out if it means a better life for our daughter. I tell you. But we finally got to the Healing Waters event with Phaedra, and she's the Reiki master. Portia, with all her over-sexualized dress and everything, showed up half naked, of course. It's just inappropriate. Everywhere you show up, your booty cheeks don't have to be out. They just really don't. I know she has a big booty and maybe it's hard to cover it, but you don't have to, go extra steps to show everything you got. It's just too much, Portia. It's getting to the point where you know what your gift is and you know what your talent is and you do it all the time. It's like a person who can sing really well, right? Beautiful voice. The person can sing, but everywhere they go, they sing. They don't even talk. They just sing. That would get irritating after a while. After a while, right? You all day long singing. That's Portia. All day long. Sexual temptation to women and to men. That's all she does all day long. It's just, it's just crazy, y'all. I don't know why. I wish she would just stop. She just loves people to lust over her. She loves it. Somehow she looks at lusting over her as equivalent to love. And I think that's going to confuse her when she's picking a partner, because she's going to think that their lust for her is love. And then next thing you know, she gets in a relationship and she's like, well, I guess you don't really love me because you treat me all poorly. I don't know. But next thing you know, Phaedra's over here playing the flute. It's called the healing flute. She's like, let me heal you people. Everybody is getting on floats and the floats is sinking in the water. Um, but in the end, people seem to have a good time. Even K. Michelle, who said she was skeptical about it as if it was a cult, after it was all over, she said, this was better than I expected. This was actually calming because K. Michelle leads with the negative. The negative. K. Michelle was going to think the worst in the negative. Like I said, she hears voices, and you're going to have to convince her that it's not negative. She looks out for the negative. She's scared of the boogeyman. Everything to K. Michelle, she's always on the lookout for the negative. And it's not until she doesn't see the negative that she's willing to give some consideration that maybe everyone isn't out to get her. So she said after it was all over with, hey, you know what? It wasn't as bad, and it was actually calming. But next thing you know, she said, but I got to get back to some real negative. And the negative I got to get back to is how Portia got with my ex-boyfriend. She said her ex-boyfriend, a record. K. Michelle is so worried about so many other men besides that man that she gave permission to sleep with other women that she likes to watch. I just don't get it, K. Michelle. You have all these other boundaries with all these other men. Don't say I was with him. Don't do this with my ex-boyfriend. But when it comes with your own husband, girl, you in an open relationship. So what difference does it make if Portia slept with your ex-boyfriend? Now, I know the code of conduct when it comes to girlfriends. Absolutely. First of all, my best friends or good friends of mine better not, well, let me say this. My best friend better not be dating no ex of mine. But I don't think Portia and K. Michelle were all that good of friends. But what she's saying is once we started becoming friends, Portia, you should have let me know that you were dating or had dated my ex. I need to know how good of friends Phaedra and K. Michelle were. I really do. But we got to see Nash. I don't know if y'all remember Nash from King's Court. That's who K. Michelle, I don't know. K. Michelle chose herself. Y'all remember King's Court? K. Michelle went through that whole season. And in the end, scary K. Michelle, who sees the boogeyman, who's always fearful of people doing wrong things, she chose herself. But they didn't look like what she did on the side was she dated Nash off the side because she said it was her ex-boyfriend. So K. Michelle, eventually what happened was you did go ahead and date Nash on the side behind the scenes. But on the King's Court, you try to make us all believe you didn't really choose him, but you did. Like I said, negative in the beginning. She's so scary. She's so frightened. She's so cautious. But in the background, then she goes and does something completely different. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But in the end, Nash told her that, he was going out with Portia and K. Michelle, that says, okay, because we didn't have any sexual connection. She said she didn't have no sexual connection with Nash. Well, if you didn't have a sexual connection with Nash, is he or is he not your ex-boyfriend, K. Michelle? I'm confused. I'm really confused. Is he just a guy that you knew from King's Court, but you didn't date and you didn't have sex with? Or did you have sex with him and he was your ex? K. Michelle want to find reasons to continuously have beef with Portia. And then K. Michelle said the reason why she got rid of Nash in the first place was because he's African and he put his bare feet up on her kitchen counter. And Portia said, that's okay because I love an African. I don't care where he puts his feet. I'm going to date me an African. That's what they say. Portia has dated almost every African in Atlanta. I'm starting to believe it. I'm really starting to believe it. But there were so many late people to the actual Reiki show. K. Michelle was late. Shamia was late. Pinky was late. They were all late, but they eventually got there. And then when Kelly finally did get there, she was mentally, physically exhausted and also financially drained because a whole lot of money is going out. So basically, Kelly's just going to have to run those businesses into bankruptcy because she's going to have to prove that all that PPP money was used on that business. And she's just going to have to spend all that money, run it to the ground, and close those businesses once again, or just be left with one business. You know, um, I don't know what to say. This was just crazy about the fight that went on at the end between K Michelle and Porsche. And K Michelle is running around um, saying the reason why I don't like you, Porsche, is because my earliest encounters with you was one, confronting a woman that she was sleeping with a married man. And then you came to me and told me I had a miscarriage. So I never trusted you from the very beginning because you have a spirit of exposure. She said you move very shady like, and you have a spirit of exposure. And next thing you know, K Michelle was getting into it with Drew. And Drew talking about run my resume. And K Michelle saying you ain't got no resume. You ain't even got no hit song. And then they fighting over Black's name. Don't say Black's name. Don't say Black's name. For K Michelle to want to be discreet about her sex life or not sex life, she sure is bringing up all her exes. Girl, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. If you want to be discreet, then keep your mouth shut. You know, Portia saying why she ended up being with everybody's man in the end. Well, that's just how the numbers work, Portia, because almost every man is somebody else's man. Some woman is claiming that man. So you're right, Portia. You end up being with somebody else's man. But this time you better wonder about, are you with someone else's woman? That might be what you want to say. But Portia couldn't admit, she couldn't own up to the fact that she probably should have told K Michelle she dated this African Nosh fellow. She didn't even want to give K Michelle that. I think she should have given it to her. I think she should have now like, yeah, you know what? I probably should have just told you. But Portia said, I've been doing all this nice stuff for you, K Michelle, bringing you into this group, trying to make you feel comfortable and everything. And this is how you treat me. This is how you treat me. First of all, Portia, you bring in K Michelle to the group, being nice to K Michelle for the group. I know how Portia moves and shakes, and Portia also does things for her own benefit. Okay. Like I said, just like she charms Sway, Dennis, Simon Gobadia, Mike Bless, everywhere. In a lot of ways, Portia just knows how to charm people and make people believe that she really is all for them. But in the end, Portia's going to choose herself. And I think what K Michelle is getting to is I was believing that you were bringing me on this show to help me because K Michelle needs some more exposure. She probably needs an extra check. But in the end, Portia, you will also be in the background digging for information to also help give yourself a storyline in some ways, somehow. But you know what? Portia's doing her job because she's keeping the show interesting. She is keeping the show interesting. What she knows is now that I'm not getting this $30,000 allowance from Simon Gobadia, I got to keep these Bravo checks coming in. And K Michelle, if that means throwing you under the bus, it means throwing you under the bus. Portia is willing to tell this Sway lady that, yeah, we can have a baby together to keep this thing going. But next thing you know, they was all riled up. Kelly was fussing with Portia, putting her wine glass all in Portia's face. And I'm thinking, Kelly, you ain't seen Portia 1.0 when she was fighting with Kenya and everybody else. But Portia's evolved. She said, I'm no longer that girl that's going to get up and lose my cool. I'm professional now. I'm tenured. I'm a tenured OG, not OG, but tenured Real Housewife Atlanta person. So you're not going to catch me off guard. I know, Kelly, you're trying to catch a case. I know you are. Kelly is trying to get a case against Bravo because Kelly's broke. You see, when people are broke, you don't even want to have them on your property because they might slip and fall and sue you. You don't want to have nothing to do with them. You don't even want to be their boss because they'll sue you on discrimination or, you know, some other kind of thing because they're just looking for a way to get a paycheck. And Kelly egging on Portia, to me, you know what it looked like? It looked like antagonizing a woman who you knew before got into physical altercations. And so what you want to do is you kind of want Portia to slap you. So that way you then can sue Bravo and get you a check and get out of this bankruptcy. Kellie looks desperate, really desperate. This is why I want to know her husband's story, because this behavior of Kellie didn't start this season. We may not have seen it. Some of you may not have seen it in other seasons, but this isn't new behavior with Kellie, and I want to know when it started, and I want to hear the stories. But be careful with Kellie, everybody out there. Don't let her come to your house, because I'm guaranteeing you she's going to have a slip and a fall, and she's going to be suing your insurance company for a payout. I know what they look like. I see them coming. Anyway, that's all I got, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.